Welcome to the Lex Buds and Pick and Roll podcast. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Brandon.
And with you as always is Tyler.
Tyler, what a great weekend. The thaw has just begun to set in.
It has.
It's up to 40 degrees today after frigid temperatures for the last week. How are you feeling?
Finally. I've just been staring at my driveway all morning waiting for the snow and ice to start melting off.
So that's how you clear your driveway. You sit and wait for it to melt. You know, some people are out shoveling. They're putting salt down. You and I both are just sitting there saying, okay, son, go to work.
Yep, do your job.
You're on the clock now.
Well, I've been all over this county looking for salt and still can't find any. So
it's amazing.
I mean, I can't. I've done all I can do really at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can't shovel ice. So I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, you can't really do a whole lot. It's like we can't predict that there's going to be winter every year, so we always have a shortage of salt. I guarantee the winter's coming next year, too. That's just my prediction. I'll put money on it. It's coming.
Well, I've learned my lesson. I'm going to go buy about 6 bags of salt and just store it for next winter now.
Everybody's going to have a salt barn now. We're all going to do that. Well, Tyler, on this show today, we are going to talk about Kentucky's big win. Duke player opting out. We can't have a show without talking about Donald Trump. Ted Cruz taking a little vacation, Rush Limbaugh, and an interesting new Nestle chocolate, among other things. But none more important, Tyler, than what we're doing in our third segment, where we are going to do our most hated bands draft.
Yes.
I can't wait.
It's going to be exciting. And I think we're going to have some picks that maybe people will disagree with. I think we might make some people upset today.
I'm interested to see what yours is. I have no clue where you're going to go with this.
Well, listen, you may know good music, but nobody knows crappier music better than me. So I think I'm going to wipe the floor with you in this bad band draft.
Gosh, Tyler, that was kind of harsh. Sounded like you were cutting a wrestling promo there. I'm going to wipe the floor with you, and the Tyler Maniacs are going to wipe the floor. You know, you sound like Hulk Hogan there for a second. That was kind of scary. Yeah. But Tyler, you know, before we get started, I always want to know, how has your week been so far? Just in general, besides the cold.
You mean, how's the week been snowed in with more snow and ice and not being able to get out and do anything? It's been great. I would say, as most people have done, we have watched a lot of Netflix at our house this week.
Anything good? Any new shows?
What else are you going to do? Well, you know, sometimes in life, when it comes to picking shows, you know, sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Oh, no.
Find a show that your wife wants to watch.
Okay.
And so we have been watching. Have you heard of this show on Netflix called Firefly Lane?
That's the one with, the girl from Knocked Up.
Yeah, the chick from Knocked Up, and also the chick from How I Met Your Mother that was engaged to Ted on that show.
Okay, got it.
It's one of those where it time hops from their childhood to their middle age to current time.
Interesting. Okay. Any good? I mean, you said it sounds like you got forcibly arm twisted into this. Was it any good?
I mean, it's actually not terrible. If I mean, for a chick show, it's not bad.
Tyler, how many times can you use the words chick in 1 minute? We're going to have, what is it, some kind of rights group outside of our studio now. And the studio's at my house, so I would appreciate it.
I probably should be better. I think the majority of our audience is actually female. Most of our followers are female.
Probably. But I'm just giving you a hard time, Tyler. But I'm the same way. I didn't really have a lot going on this week. Can I tell you something I did do?
What'd you do?
If you recall, a couple episodes ago, we talked about Boondogs, the new restaurant in Lexington.
Oh, that's the hot dog place,
The hot dog
right?
place, yes.
Okay.
And we talked about the $9 hot dog, the Kentucky dog. Well, you know what I did? I did some field research and decided to go try it out.
Okay.
And my overall review, it was delicious.
Oh.
Now here's the thing. I don't see what's wrong with having a $9 hot dog, because we have $9 burgers. You go out to a restaurant, heck, there's some burgers that are $15, $20.
Nope, no doubt.
So why can't you have a $9 hot dog? Why on the face of it does that sound ridiculous? Because when you hear it out loud, it does sound ridiculous.
I mean, I guess you just think, the hot dog, the meat in a hot dog is traditionally not the highest quality of meat. You know, you always feel like you're getting all the scraps that are just thrown together into one long piece of meat.
Yeah,
and so I think that's probably the perception most people have of hot dogs is just not high quality enough to be $9.
Understandable. Now, they do have a $5 hot dog, which is just like a plain, straight-up hot dog, just the hot dog and the bun. But these buns they put them in are huge. The hot dogs are huge, and they put a bunch of toppings on it. And it was delicious. I got it exactly how it came because I didn't want to discriminate. I didn't want it to be what I wanted. I want what they considered to be the $9 hot dog.
Well, they are the hot dog experts.
Yeah,
so.
if they say it's good that way, I'll do that. I also got a chorizo dog, and it was very good.
Okay.
I was very happy with the purchase, and I will go back.
Wow. All right. Does it come with sides, or is it just a straight up hot dog?
I just wanted the hot dog. I got one of each. My wife and I split half one each, and we both agreed, wow, this is very good. Okay. We were surprised.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we try to, this is what we do here, Tyler. We try to give people the information they need. But other than that, besides trying a hot dog, my week's been pretty worthless. That's the highlight of my week, is trying a hot dog.
So you're saying the most productive thing you did all week was eat a hot dog?
Yeah, and it sounds like you watched a really crappy show. So it sounds like our week has been terrible. However, we're going to bring it up today with this show, and let's just get into it, Tyler.
All right.
Let's bring the people up. Let's bring us up.
Let's go. I'm ready.
You ready? All right, Tyler. Orange, you glad we got a big lead on the Vols Saturday? Kentucky broke out to an early lead Saturday and held on to beat the Vols 70-55. This despite only scoring 25 points in the second half. The good news for the Cats, the Vols only scored 25 second half points as well. Tyler, is it unreasonable to think that we could actually win the SEC tournament?
Well, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I don't know. Maybe. I mean,
no. I don't know. Maybe. I wanted to know: can we do it, Tyler?
Can we? Yes. I mean, we just beat probably the second best team in the SEC on their home floor
very handily.
I mean, I think seeding wise, they're number 4. Mm-hmm. We beat LSU, who's number 2. We beat Florida, who's number 3. I mean, we've beat all the top teams except for Alabama,
and we had them until we got to the 4-minute mark.
We had
played them
ropes.
competitively.
Yep. So I mean, you just look at a game by game basis. It's certainly possible because there's nobody that we would play that'd be like, oh, we don't have a chance this game. But this was, I think, without a doubt, the best game that the Cats have played all year. This was the best they looked from start to finish. It was, the scoring slumped a little bit in the second half, but the defense was still outstanding, and they even stretched the lead out a little bit for a while in the second half, even though they couldn't score. They
were 0 for 39 at one point in the second half, I think. It felt like it anyway, and yet we still kept the lead. It was unbelievable to sit there and watch, like, when are we going to score a basket? Oh, wait, never mind, we're up 19 now. It was crazy.
It was. I mean, everybody played pretty well. I mean, you just look at the box score and like, okay, yeah, he had a good game. He had a good game. All right, he had a great game. Everybody played well that got in for the most part. Davion Mintz starts out the game 5 for 5 from 3.
And I think you talked about that in your latest article, which I think is going up on the site today.
Yes, it reminded me of my college days remember when Arby's had the 5 roast beefs for $5? What
a deal.
One of the greatest deals in fast food chain history. The 5 roast beefs for $5. Mm-hmm. I would just go get that. That would be my meal for the whole day. I would eat it for lunch. I'd eat like 2 or 3 for lunch, and I'd eat the rest of them for dinner. Exactly. And you were set for $5.
Yeah, it's like the Little Caesars $5 pizza. It's right up there with the $5 footlong. There's something about the $5 thing that just works.
It is.
But it was great to see him. He was coming off screens, going back and forth, a la Reggie Miller from the 90s. Remember, you'd watch Reggie Miller just going from side to side trying to get off the screen and just pop them. And it was a thing of beauty to watch.
It was. He was coming off screens. He was pulling up in transition and hit a 3. Just doing it in every way possible. I mean, he has become the one guy that I think every time he shoots it now, I think it's going in. And at the beginning of the year, there wasn't a single guy on this roster that I had any faith that any shot they took was going in. He's just been money the last few games, and we desperately needed it.
Well, do you think this is a sign of things to come, though, or is this a blip on the radar? Because let's snap back to reality, okay?
All right,
reality is
snap back to reality.
Oh, there goes gravity. Yeah. Reality is we have a terrible record, and most of the season we have shot really poorly. But you and I both had statistics classes, Tyler, and we know that through statistics classes, things usually tend to even back out.
Right.
Or as Harold and Kumar go to White Castle in the prison scene, the universe tends to unfold as it should. I don't know if you recall that scene.
I do.
So maybe things are just unfolding and evening out from the terrible start, or do you think it's just a blip? Honestly.
Well, I mean, like I said, this was our best game of the year. So, I don't know. I would like to see a little more consistency before we say. I mean, we've won 3 games in a row, but 2 of those games were Auburn and Vanderbilt, who are at the bottom of the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we've won 3 in a row, but only one of those was really a quality win. But it was a heck of a win. I mean, John Calipari has really struggled to win in Knoxville the last few years. I mean, I remember going. I had tickets, the John Wall team.
Mm-hmm.
I bought tickets for the game in Knoxville, and boy, did I leave disappointed.
I remember that day very vividly, Tyler, because I was supposed to go with you that day.
Yeah, you were. I think you were a little under the weather that day.
Yep, I was sick, but that's all right. Yeah, I mean, it's been a tough road for us to go to win at Tennessee. And just Tennessee in general. Rick Barnes has owned us lately. So it was good to see us do it. I just couldn't believe the second half when it felt like we couldn't make a shot and we kept growing our lead. And it was unbelievable. So you start to wonder, okay, is Calipari right? Was he right in saying that, you need long, lengthy players that can defend, because if you can defend, you're in every game? That's the question. Because we can put up 25-point second halves with the best of them. Mm-hmm. We do it consistently. The question is, does the Calipari theory of length and athleticism on the defensive end offset that? Is that enough to take you over the edge and make you a premier team in the league? I don't know. I'm still on the fence about that. But, Calipari's got to be sitting back and thinking, yeah, I told you so.
Oh, yeah. He's in his mind, he has done everything the way he should have done it from beginning to end. And I think he's probably going to look back on this season like, if we'd had more time at the start of the year, we would have been fine at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't expect to see any big changes coming in his coaching philosophy after this one.
You don't expect Cal to change his mind after 60-some-odd years on the planet Earth? Come on, Tyler. People change, right?
Well, you should be willing to change as a basketball coach.
It's not going to happen.
No.
I just hope we keep winning.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, if you thought junior mints was good, how about 6-year senior mints?
Ooh.
Of course, talking about Davion Mintz, whose dad recently said that a return is on the table and that he would love to see his son obtain his master's degree. Brandon, are you excited? We just spent most of the first segment there talking about Davion Mintz. How excited would you be if he came back?
We have to have some returning players. I will take any returning player at this point, because we've seen that when we try to rebuild an entirely new team, it is an absolute disaster. Right? This team has been rough. We put in 10 new pieces and you hope they all meld together. That's just not how it works. You need some form of returning player to do something. The title that Calipari did win came because Deron Lamb came back, Terrence Jones comes back. You wonder if those players are here now if they decide to transfer or leave. That was kind of early on in Cal's tenure. So things have changed. You have to have some returning players to make a run. And we need shooters. For the love of Pete, we need shooters. And right now, Davion Mintz is the only one I know that we're going to have. B.J. Boston is starting to hit shots. But just like a lot of Calipari players, right when they start to turn it around, they're gone to the draft. We never see them again. So we never actually get to see the fruits of the labor that they put in. We get to see it when they're in their NBA uniform, but not in the Kentucky uniform.
Yeah, that's 100%. And we, as of right now, we don't really have any shooters coming in for next year's recruiting class. That can always change, but yeah, if he doesn't come back, who are you looking at knocking down perimeter shots? I mean, Keon Brooks is probably would be your best 3-point shooter returning for the next season.
I don't like the sound of that.
I
mean, he's a fine shooter, but when that's your go-to shooter, that's the problem.
Yeah. And what's crazy, Davion Mintz would be 23 years old at the start of next. When's the last time we had a player 23 years old?
Maybe he could be like, you remember Pete Rose was a player coach. Maybe Davion Mintz joins the staff as a player coach or something.
Yeah.
At some point, he's going to be like a grad assistant or, drawing up plays for the team or something, then going in and hitting the shot on the plays he's drawing up.
Well, I bet he could draw up better plays than Calipari does, so...
Well, not better than that one inbounds play.
Oh, that was a hell of an inbounds pass.
We ran one. Look what happens when we run a set play. We score.
We get a beautiful alley-oop to Jacob Toppin, who, by the way, I think is going to be really good next year.
I'm so excited. We're getting a sneak peek this year. I can't wait to see what happens over the next 1 or 2 years with him.
Yeah, he's going to be a stud.
Absolutely.
All right, going back to earlier in the week, Brandon, John Calipari said something after the Vanderbilt game that I wanted to get your take on.
Okay.
But before we get to that, do you recall earlier this year, I believe it was after the Louisville game, and John Calipari was asked, why didn't Dante Allen play? He gets asked that every game. But do you remember what his reasoning after the Louisville game was for not playing Dante Allen?
He hadn't played him in the first half, right? So he didn't want to put him in the second half.
Exactly. So apparently, John Calipari has a rule that says if I don't play a guy in the first half, I can't play him in the second half, which seems absurd. But okay, fine. That's your philosophy. Have at it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he broke that rule in the Vanderbilt game. Lance Ware checked into the game in the second half after having sat for the first 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Calipari was, of course, asked about it after the game, and he said, quote, "I make up the rules so I can break them too." Once again, Cal has had another just terrible, terrible PR quote after a game. Brandon, what do you make of this one?
Tyler, let me just ask you real quick. Can you think of a prominent public figure that told so many lies that over the course of time people stopped believing what he was saying? Can you think of anybody recently in history, political history, or anything where people stopped listening because he had told so many?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I was just asking. But in this particular case, that's what's happening. People have tuned out, and after you hear it so many times, and you hear the BS so many times, you just don't even pay attention to it anymore. So when you actually do say something that is profound or helpful, like, hey, I'm making changes, I'm making tweaks, I put a new wrinkle in the offense, nobody believes you. It's the boy that cried wolf syndrome. I think we're seeing it a lot in politics. It's what's happening with Calipari, and that's why people don't listen to him. It adds up over time. It's a cumulative effect. It's like compound interest in your retirement account, right? It's small. It's like, okay, this is all right. Then all of a sudden it just snowballs, and before you know it, it's out of control. Same thing here. And people have just tuned out. They don't care, and they know he's full of you-know-what.
To me, he sounds like a dad. He sounds like an exhausted dad who's tired of hearing their kids ask the same question over and over. Dad, can I do this? Can I do this? No. Can I do this, please? No. And you just keep saying no over and over. And then finally the kid says, well, why not? And you say, because I said so.
That's right.
Calipari is the angry, frustrated dad who says, you know what? I make the rules. I can break the rules. He is just he's a frustrated dad is what
he's going into dad mode. One day he's going to come in and tell Jerry Tipton, I brought you into this world and I'll take you right back out. Just wait and see. He's going to go full dad mode. I like that.
I would love it.
I can just picture that press conference now. I'm excited for that to happen. But, we'll see. Tyler, before we close out segment one here, one other story. Duke player Jalen Johnson has opted out for the remainder of the season. He announced with just a few weeks left that he is not returning to the Brotherhood of Duke for the last 2 to 3 weeks of the season. Duke is kind of on the borderline of making the tournament anyway. Tyler, isn't opting out a fancy term for quitting?
I swear, you took the words right out of my mouth. That was exactly what I was going to say. Like, I'm sick and tired of hearing the phrase opting out. If I hear opting out one more time, I may hang myself. It's quitting. Let's just say it for what it is. He quit the team. Call it what you want to call it. He quit.
Okay.
He quit his teammates. He quit his coaches. Quit the fans. For what reason? For what reason? I mean, they still theoretically could still win a national championship. They could still win the ACC tournament, go to the dance, win a title, and he's quitting. It makes no sense. I think Calipari and Coach K and a lot of these guys are really going to have to start evaluating priorities of kids before they get on campus, because it seems like we've already seen it on our end with Terrence Clark. We've seen this before with Jared Vanderbilt. We saw it with Khalil Whitney, who quit after like 10 games.
No.
Quade Green, who left halfway through a season.
No, they didn't quit, Tyler. They opted out. That is the politically correct term. Don't you call these kids quitters. Tyler, who do you think you are?
I don't know.
This is the millennial word for quit. It's like slang terms that I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm going to opt out. Hey, I'm on a diet. I'm going to opt out of my diet tonight, and I'm just going to eat a big burger.
Okay,
is that all right?
So if I decide to leave my job, I can just go tell my boss, like, hey, I'm opting out of my job. Not quitting, just opting out.
Just opting out. The options on the table. I'm opting out. It's ridiculous. I mean, this stuff's got to stop. I think it'll filter down to Kentucky at some point and to other schools. When kids don't have the season that they think they're supposed to have, or if they see their draft stock start to plummet, which we've seen that with some players on this team this year, they may say, you know what, I'm going to pack it in. We saw what that did for Khalil Whitney. Not great.
Yeah. How in the world does that help you? How does a kid think that's going to help their draft status when teams realize you're a quitter? You're a quitter.
No.
Is what it is.
No, they're opters.
They're opters. Opter-outers.
They're opter-outers, Tyler. They are not quitters. Don't call these kids quitters.
Yeah. I mean, it is Duke, so I love to see anything that hurts Duke. I enjoy it, but just as a trend overall, it's frustrating.
Well, and then in his announcement, he mentioned the brotherhood of Duke. If you're in a brotherhood with somebody, do you opt out? Like, imagine you're in the bunker and you're in the war with the guy next to you. He's like, you know what? We're brothers. We're brothers to the end. And then right when all the crap starts to hit, he's like, you know what? I'm opting out. I'm going back to the base. This sucks, man. You stay here. You do your thing.
This
you do
isn't what I signed up for.
We'll always be brothers, but I'm going to run away. Is that a brotherhood?
I don't think that would be looked very kindly upon.
I don't think so either, Tyler. That was a fun first segment. We got a lot to talk about in segment 2. I mean, a lot of good stuff. We're going to talk about The Rock possibly becoming president.
President Rock.
President Rock. We're going to talk about Nestle chocolates.
Yes.
Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, Ted Cruz, and...
Nestle chocolate is my favorite out of all those things that you just said.
Well, it's going to be an interesting second segment. And stick around for segment 3 because we still have our most hated bands draft to get to. And we will see you right after this break. Welcome back, segment 2, Lex Buds and Pick and Roll podcast. Before we get started with segment 2, as always, follow us at Lex Buds on Twitter. Check out Tyler's latest article on the recent UK game at lexbuds.com, and just type the word Lex Buds into your internet machine. We will pop up. I guarantee it. We're still going to pop up, Tyler. That's how we roll.
Yeah, make sure you're giving us a follow. If you like witty and or even just useless comments of our commentary during the game, we are there to provide it for everyone.
That's how we roll, Tyler. Got a lot to cover in segment 2. I think we just dig into the news of the world today and what matters to Kentuckians. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, first up, we've got the rivalry continues, Trump and McConnell.
Oh, okay.
Brandon, it feels like the Republican Party is as split as a piñata at a 5-year-old's birthday party right now. Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump are once again going at each other, this time Trump saying, quote, the Republican Party can never again be respected with Senator McConnell at its helm. And then he took it a step further and called Mitch a dour, sullen, and unsmiling political hack. This statement came after McConnell voted to acquit the former president in the impeachment trial, but then later criticized Trump for his actions the day of the attack on the Capitol. Brandon, is this Trump's party? Is it McConnell's party? Or is what's going on with the Republicans right now?
Well, first of all, I think his description of McConnell's fairly accurate. So in that regard, I would say he's correct. I think it's just what's going on with politics in general. I think you have fractured politics everywhere, right? The Republicans have obviously got some soul-searching to do. They got their tail handed to them in these last elections. I mean, we're an apolitical show. Let's just go ahead and say that, right? I don't care about the political parties. I just call balls and strikes like I see them. There's a fracture there, but there's also fractures in the Democratic Party where you have a very progressive wing, very activist wing, and then you have moderates. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is. We're fractured all over the place, and these elections are just off the wall. We're getting results that we're not expecting. I think it is going to be Trump's party for the foreseeable future because you have a large base of people that are not going to go against what he says. He's almost like the kingmaker. Mm-hmm. Okay, you wanna be a prominent leader in the Republican Party? Come and kiss the ring, or take the knee, bend the knee. Mm-hmm. That's essentially, I think, what's going to happen for the foreseeable future until he's out of the public light so much that he doesn't matter as much. But we probably know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating to see where people's loyalties go to because clearly these two guys do not like each other.
No.
And they, for the last 4 years, they were the two most powerful men in the country.
Worked together quite a bit.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see just kind of how this plays out. Right now, it seems like everybody in Congress is staying loyal to McConnell. I think Trump even called for Mitch to be removed from office, and nobody followed him. Nobody went with him on that one.
He's called for a lot of things, Tyler. So let's be honest.
Yeah. So again, I think it'll be a fascinating watch. I'm interested to see how it plays out.
You know, I think one of the comparisons you talked about the piñata. I think one thing that would kind of be similar there is they would probably both like to take baseball bats and beat the crap out of each other. So I think that's a possibility. But you make an enemy with Trump, that's not a good thing. You know what I mean? He can turn on you like that. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. You could be his best friend one day, and then boom, you said the wrong thing. You're out.
You're out.
It's crazy. You're out of the circle of trust. Was that Meet the Parents?
That was, yeah. The circle, the ring of
this ring of trust, circle of trust, whatever it is.
Did I not fully explain the circle of trust to you, Parker?
Oh boy, Tyler. Texas Senator Ted Cruz had a tough decision to make this week: frozen or on the rocks. In this case, the senator decided to leave millions of Texas residents frozen while he went to enjoy some drinks on the rocks. Despite Cruz's initial response stating he was simply dropping off his daughters on the trip to Cancun, leaked text messages and flight boarding passes indicate he planned to stay for the entirety of the trip. Tyler, if you were a Texas resident, would this news leave you feeling salty?
Well, that he went on a Cancun cruise.
Yeah, that's his new nickname. You're aware
Yeah,
of
I saw that.
Well, what are your thoughts, Ty? I mean, obviously there's the freezing temperatures. People are without power. There's people dying in Texas, right? So what would you feel like? Let's say that happened in Kentucky and Mitch McConnell or Rand Paul decided to go to Aruba. How would that make you feel?
I would be pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, way to be there for the people that you represent. I mean, you take an oath to serve the people of your state, and I mean, you're supposed to be doing things to help them, not just deserting them at their worst moments. This is crazy. What could he have possibly have been thinking when he did this? I mean, he had to know that this was going to backfire. He had to know.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second, Tyler. What is Ted Cruz going to physically do? Is he going to come and shovel the driveways of all these people? What's he actually going to do?
He could be on the phone with people.
Doing what? They don't have power. What is Ted Cruz going to do? They have nothing. Is he going to snow blow their yard? Is he going to shovel their driveways? Is he going to pour salt on the roads?
He could be lobbying to bring people from other states to come in and help clean things up. He could be trying to propose legislation that would get more money to help Texas during all this. Maybe he could work on fixing the terrible grid that they have going on in Texas that can't seem to hold up during 2 inches of snow. Maybe he could be doing a lot of things. Not going to Cancun.
Yeah, I was just trying to play devil's advocate. This is just dumb. I mean, I'm sorry. This is stupid. Now, I will say this. The actual act itself, it's more just kind of outrageous because of the optics of it. But when it comes to what does it mean to the average person in Texas, I don't think Ted Cruz staying in Texas really does much of anything because they've already gotten disaster relief assistance. Biden just announced they're going to do that. So I don't think him physically being there had anything to do with it. It's the optics of your leader leaving you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because there's other things, if you're looking at controversies with Cuomo in New York, right, with the nursing home residents and a lot of people dying because he withheld information. It would be nice if some more resources were put into highlighting that because there were actually people dying on a mass scale that was covered up. But the optics of the Ted Cruz thing is what absolutely kills it. I don't know what he was thinking. Completely. If you're a politician, politic better. And he got one-upped. I don't know if you saw this. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez actually went down and raised money during this time, like $4 million for residents in Texas. Now, I am no fan of her at all. But she one-upped him in this case. While Ted Cruz was in Cancun sipping away on a margarita, she went and raised money for the people of Texas. She's from New York.
Yep, good for her.
He got one-upped by a much younger member of Congress. And again, I'm not a fan, but she one-upped him in this case. I call it like I see it, Tyler. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, well, I tell you who needs to be calling it is Ted Cruz's wife needs to be calling it with all of her friends that she was texting. That I think that part of the story gets overlooked just because of what Ted did. But this we all found out about this because some of supposedly her friends leaked this to the media. Brandon, how would you feel if your group text with your buddies, somebody leaked it out?
There would be a serious meeting. and one of us isn't coming out alive. I'm kidding, sort of. But you know what I mean? That makes it tricky because you're on this group text. You think, hey, this is a protected zone, right? Nobody can penetrate this zone of this group text message. But somebody leaked it to the New York Times, no less. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Also, the boarding passes were leaked, showing that he wasn't just dropping off his daughter. That stuff bothers me. I don't like leaking like that. It's, I'm just not a fan. I don't like the fact that an employee at an airline can leak my information, even though I'm not even doing anything. I just go on family trips. I don't want to know that my stuff can be leaked like that. It's nobody's business.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one.
But the friends thing, oh boy. That is going to be an interesting girls' night out.
Yeah, so somebody just found their way out of the circle of trust with the Cruz neighborhood.
Oh, boy. I mean, what would you do, Tyler? What if that happened to you? What if we had a group text and we had just some crazy stuff that you knew was incriminating, which we don't, by the way, for our listeners. We don't have that. But what if somebody just exposed all that?
I mean, how would you figure it out, though? I mean, if everybody denied it, how do you know? I mean, I guess you just have to quit talking to all of them, right?
Yeah. And they have power in Texas, so it'd be like, hey, I'm cutting all y'all off until one of you fess up, or you guys go investigate who did it, and then you tell me with proof. Otherwise, ain't none of y'all getting nothing. Get out of here. I'll find 10 new friends.
Yeah. I hope whoever it was got a nice payday from the New York Times for that one.
Boy.
All right. Well, speaking of idiotic moves from Texas politicians, Brandon, up to this point in my life, I thought that the two worst mayors were Augustus Mayhew from Dr. Seuss and Mayor Humdinger from Paw Patrol. I don't know if you're familiar with Paw Patrol.
I am, unfortunately.
But my kids are obsessed.
Yeah.
At least that was until I read the social media post from the mayor of Colorado City, Texas, who told his residents to fend for themselves during this deadly winter storm that tore through Texas this week. And I'm going to read you just a small snippet of his post.
Please.
He said, quote, "No one owes you or your family anything, nor is it the local government's responsibility to support you during trying times like this. Sink or swim, it's your choice. The city and country, along with power providers or any other services, owe you nothing. I'm sick and tired of people looking for a damn handout." Pardon my French.
Oh, is that all he said?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem because, I mean, we have just part of the basic living. We have the right to heat and air. And especially if you pay for that all year long, you should be able to get that.
Yeah.
That's just a reasonable thing. That's not a damn handout. That's just basic service to exist in life.
Yes.
How about next summer in Texas, we just shut off the power to his house? Say, we don't owe you a damn thing. You're on your own. Sweat it out, big boy.
Yeah, not surprisingly, he is no longer the mayor of Colorado City, Texas, and resigned after that came out.
I guess my question is just similar to the Ted Cruz thing. The optics suck. Even if that's what you thought in your brain as the mayor, which I think is wrong, even if you thought it, you don't have to type everything you think. A lot of people think that. They were like, oh, I had a thought. I better put it on Facebook right now. Everybody needs to know what I think. No, don't need to do it. Right? I mean, even if you think it, why would you post it?
Yeah, there is just something about Facebook that people, or at least politicians, that don't realize the extent that post gets put out to the world. Like, I guess you just feel like, hey, this is only going out to my small circle of friends, but no, like,
it only takes one friend to share that with somebody that doesn't like you, and then it blows up.
Exactly,
just like the Ted Cruz thing.
Learned.
Yeah, exactly.
It's stupid. I don't get, like you said, even if that's what you think, why are you posting that? It's stupid. Like, nothing good is going to come from that. You have to realize that. I mean, assume this is a reasonably intelligent person. If he was elected mayor, like, he's got to have some common sense.
Well, politics is very visual. Sometimes even if something is crap on paper, they make it look good in the optics of politics, and that is what makes a successful politician. Ted Cruz and this mayor have done a crappy job of that. It's all about how things look. If people think things are going well, then you're going to get reelected. If they don't think things are going well based on what things look like, you won't get reelected. Just be smart.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you think that, just don't post it. It's just so stupid.
Yeah, think before you post.
Oh, can we give that advice to everybody on the planet? Tyler, you remember the old commercial? Give me a break, give me a break. Break me off a piece of that plant-based chocolate Kit Kat bar.
No, I don't remember that one.
Okay, well, it's new. Nestle, the makers of the beloved Kit Kat bar, have announced that they are now producing a vegan Kit Kat bar made from a plant-based chocolate. Tyler, what does that even mean, and are you going to try one?
That's a great... How do you make chocolate from plants? I need somebody to explain this to me.
Well,
I need help.
All right, Todd, we're going to sound really stupid during the segment. So my understanding is that chocolate comes from... God, I'm going to sound like such a...
It's a cocoa bean,
it's
right?
It's a cocoa bean.
It's a bean.
So my thought is, how is a bean not vegan?
It's coming from the ground. It's coming from the earth.
That's what I don't understand.
Is it because it has the milk in it? Because they make it milk chocolate? Is that what makes it not vegan?
I guess so. Yeah, it's the milk part. So this is going to be plant-based.
So this would just be straight up ground cocoa beans.
I guess. Are you going to try one?
I think we need to try it on the show. Are these out for the public yet?
They're coming out very soon from what I read. I looked at it just before the show started. So when these come out, I think we just do an honest... let's do a blind taste test.
Yes.
We'll do a regular, and we'll do a vegan.
I'm for it.
Gosh, I just don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what would taste different.
You think you'll be able to tell a difference?
I mean, I don't get the flavor of milk from the milk chocolate, I don't think, whenever I'm eating the regular Kit Kat.
Right.
So I'm not sure that I would be able to tell the difference. And
now,
if that's the case, why would you use milk anyway?
Yeah. Well, here's my question. Do you think this is a good idea? Because, I mean, you just hear that, you think, vegan chocolate bar. That sounds disgusting. But are there any other vegan chocolate bars? Not that I know of. So is there a benefit to them being the only player in this vegan candy bar market?
Tyler, there's a huge groundswell of people wanting more vegan options and more vegetarian options for that matter. So, I mean, they're ahead of the game. Whoever's in that boardroom or whoever's making decisions is trying to get ahead of the game on this. And people that are vegan have one chocolate they can go get that's going to be in every single store, and that's Kit Kat. There's probably specialty chocolate bars they can order online, but when you're talking about at the cash register before you check out, there's 50 different boxes of candy. Trust me, my kids look at all of them. There's 50 boxes of candy, and you get to choose which one. Well, there's no vegan option except for that one.
Yep.
Not a bad idea if you're trying to get that. Now, am I going to eat it all the time? Probably not. But if you're trying to hit that segment, you're ahead of the game, man.
Yep. I mean, Kit Kat has always, in my mind, been at the forefront of pop culture. I mean, you just mentioned the theme song.
Yeah.
To me, that's one of the greatest theme songs for a product ever.
Oh, easily. Whoever came up with that should be on an island, retired somewhere, probably with Ted Cruz. I'm just kidding. But, just sipping away out of margarita thinking, man, I really nailed that song, didn't I?
Yeah, you had a whole Office episode about that theme song where Andy's trying to remember the lyrics. Remember that?
Break me off a piece of that fancy feast. Wait, that's not Fancy Feast.
Yeah, it spends the whole episode trying to figure out Kit Kat bar.
Yeah.
And then you had, was it a few years ago? Did you ever see the story of the girl who gave her boyfriend a Kit Kat bar for the first time? He'd never eaten one. Do you remember?
No.
Remember oh, this is great. You got to look it up. So he had never eaten a Kit Kat bar before.
Okay.
And you and I both know the way you eat a Kit Kat bar is you break off each wafer. And that's part of the great thing is you really get 4 pieces of candy.
Yeah, break me off a piece.
Yeah. Well, he just took a bite out of the whole thing. Just tore into all 4 pieces at once. And so she posted it on social media, and it went viral. And Kit Kat actually picked up on it. And so when he proposed to her, Kit Kat made this modified Kit Kat bar for him to put the ring in. And then Kit Kat paid for their whole wedding, had a Kit Kat cake. It was a whole thing.
Man.
So Kit Kat, to me, has always been really at the forefront of advertising.
That's amazing. I like innovative companies that think outside the box, and that's one way to do it for sure.
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
it. Okay. Stay tuned for that taste test, by the way.
That's coming up for sure. We got to try that out. Okay, Brandon, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We'll talk a little WWE wrestling here.
Okay.
Might be going from the people's elbow to the people's choice
for
president.
Oh.
The former WWE star said he would consider a presidential run in the future if that's what the people wanted. Is there any possibility we have a President Rock in 2024?
You know what? It's hard for me to say. I don't know the guy's politics. I know he supported, I think, Joe Biden in the last election.
He seems pretty moderate from what I've seen.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So I don't really know where he stands. He probably strikes me as somebody that would just go with whatever is popular at the time, kind of like Trump, but not as spout-offish as Trump. So that's what it reminds me of. He'll do probably the politics of convenience of what people want to do. I will also say when it comes to nuclear negotiations, he should fire the entire team of any nuclear negotiations and just show up. Say, you want a nuke, huh?
He could just do that little eyebrow raise.
Yeah, exactly. So you want that nuke, eh? Keep his glasses on, pull them off, and do that. And, I think it would be great if he ended his State of the Union speeches with, you smell la 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 la. What President Rock is cooking.
Oh, man, we got so many great possibilities with this, Brandon.
I know. And it's like the nuclear things, if he's negotiating. So what do you think about that? It doesn't matter what you think. You know what I mean? So, he could totally just nail this. He's already played the part for years. He's ready. And the guy is jacked right now. He is huge. And he's in family films. People like his... He cuts across all lines.
He's been in Disney movies.
Action movies, Disney movies, wrestling. He's got a cross-section of people that could actually come together in this country. So I, as of right now, will say not a bad idea.
Oh, okay. If you just look at popularity and just people in pop culture that are just kind of universally liked, I don't know anybody that just says, "Oh, I hate The Rock. I can't stand it." Like, who doesn't like The Rock? He's extremely charismatic.
Oh yeah,
he owns. Whether it was wrestling, whether it's movies, whether it's whatever he does, he owns the room with everybody that he's in.
There's no doubt.
So I could easily see him being spectacular on the campaign trail.
Are you going to vote for him? Are you going to vote for him? That's the big thing. Would you vote for a President Rock? Because we've seen what a celebrity president looks like, and you can be the judge on if that's good or not. I'm not going to say that. But do you want another celebrity president?
Not really. I guess it would probably depend on the field and who he was running against, but I guess there could be worse people.
I guarantee there could be worse people. I saw the people that were on the debate stage over the last 4 and 8 years, and I think, my dear Lord, can somebody please do something with these, because they're terrible.
Yeah,
they're bad at their job.
He would kill a debate. I think he would crush it.
Again, the eyebrow raise. I would be afraid to debate.
Yeah.
Somebody says something like, "Rock, you believe this," and he would just raise an eyebrow and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Rock. I was just kidding." I don't know.
Many possibilities. I like it.
I do too. Tyler, we're going to end on a little bit of a somber note here, I guess. Talk radio pioneer and conservative voice Rush Limbaugh passed away this past week at the age of 70 after his long-standing fight with lung cancer. Tyler, what are your memories, if any, of Rush, and do you have anyone in mind who you think would be the next conservative radio talk leader?
I actually remember being a young kid, probably like maybe elementary, middle school, when Rush Limbaugh would be on TV. Like I remember, because my dad would watch it all the time. I think it would come on like middle of the day, like maybe 12 or 12:30 after the news or something. And Dad would always want to watch it. I'm like, my God, why do we have to watch this? Can we not watch cartoons or whatever I was into at the time? But my dad would watch it, and even at that young age, like Rush Limbaugh, regardless of what you think about him, he had a way to command your attention and get you to listen to what he wanted to say. Like, even as a young kid who didn't even want to watch or listen to it, I would find myself, like, I would sit and watch the whole thing. Like, I wouldn't just leave the room or go play or do something. Like, he captivated me as a kid to sit and listen to. I had no clue what he's even talking about, what he was saying. Like, oh my God, this I need to listen to this guy because he's yelling at me, and I better listen up.
But it's funny because I have the same memory. I didn't know you were going there.
Yeah.
But my earliest memories of Rush were his TV show. It was on in my house. I had no clue. It was more background. I didn't really pay attention to what he said. It was more of just, okay, that's that guy. And then later on, I was like, oh, yeah, that was Rush Limbaugh. That was his show. I didn't really put 2 and 2 together on that. But regardless of what you think about what he says, right, he's a very controversial figure.
Yeah.
Let's put it mildly. But if you're looking at industry changers in radio, there's really only a couple that I can think of. Everybody else is just kind of in a mishmash of everybody else that has a radio show. There's him, and there's Howard Stern.
Yep.
Those are the two people that took it to a level that radio, I don't know, will ever get again. So I don't know who's going to replace him. When I thought about who's going to replace him, I mean, you could think about somebody from Fox News like a Sean Hannity or something, or whomever you want to pick. It really doesn't matter. But I don't think you'll ever see an audience like Rush built, because he built it for decades. So you're not going to have a Johnny Come Lately come along and just build 40 million listeners all at once. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the Mount Rushmore is only two people in radio, really. I mean,
everybody else is the same.
Yeah, I guess you could just have two pictures of Rush and Howard up there.
Exactly. Maybe one from his TV show, one from the radio, and then Howard. I loved Howard Stern, too. I don't know. Did you ever listen to Howard?
They used to show the radio shows on like the E network or something. I would watch those.
Yeah, satellite radio. Howard Stern is definitely a staple. I'm still a big fan. Not as funny as he used to be, not as edgy, but I think he's getting older.
Yeah,
so
he has a lot more money. People aren't as funny once they get rich.
Yeah, like you don't have the naked people in the studio and like all these goofy guests and all that kind of stuff. It's more like interview based now.
Yeah,
like tell me about how did that make you feel? You know, it's a lot different.
Yeah,
but yeah. Rest in peace, Rush Limbaugh. Regardless of what you thought, it's he was an innovator.
Yeah, he was there. You know, one of the all-time greats in radio, and still, you know, a father, husband, brother. You know,
yep.
So prayers to the Limbaugh family.
Yeah, Tyler. Interesting segment. You know, we covered quite a bit of ground there. We talked food, presidents, really bad politicians, and I'm glad we covered all that. It was very productive. But I think our third segment could be our biggest one of the show. That's just my opinion. We are going to do our most hated bands draft.
Yes.
Are you ready?
I can't wait. This is going to be great.
Let's do it. Let's get to our most hated bands draft, and we will do that right after this break.
All right, welcome back. Episode 45 of the Lex Buds Pick and Roll podcast, the return of Michael Jordan episode. When he wore jersey number 45.
I remember that.
See that one coming.
I didn't. You always sneak one of those in, Tyler. I appreciate that.
But we have got a fun segment for you guys for our third and final segment. Brandon, you sent me an article this week that I even forget where it was from now at this point. But basically, the author had gone through and researched multiple listings, rankings, articles, trends of the worst rock bands of all time. And they took all of that data, they kind of compiled everything together to kind of just look at from a perspective of what's out there, what the research shows. What is the consensus most hated rock band of all time? And you can go out there. I think they did like the top 25 or top 30 or something.
Yeah, and they basically compiled it using a lot of different resources. The most overrated bands, the most hated bands from different publications. And they kind of compiled it together to give each band one composite score. So this wasn't just one dude's opinion, really. The guy did compile it together based on raw data. So this is actual provable data. People say follow the science. Well, we followed it with that article, but we're going to come up with our own science today, Tyler. This is our science. What's going on in our brains, and what bands we think are the worst on the planet.
Yeah, so we're going to do our, like we like to do on this show, we're going to do our worst bands draft.
Yep.
Now, Brandon, this article is rock bands, but I have kind of some different genre. You didn't just stick to rock, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay, so this is across any genre.
Worst bands ever.
Just in our opinions.
In our opinions, which is all that matters because it's our show.
Exactly. Yes. if you want to talk about your least favorite bands, you can start your own show and talk about it.
All right, Tyler. So how are we going to decide who goes first?
Well, you sent me the article, so I think since this was kind of your brainchild, I think you should get to go first.
Well, Tyler, that's very generous of you. Thank you so much. Well, let me start off by saying that my picks are going to be very controversial.
Oh, okay.
Because this first band is my least favorite band on the planet. And it's a band I've never talked about on this show.
Oh, I thought I might have known where you were going there.
No, not quite. There's a band that when I was in college, everybody told me, oh, man, do you listen to this band? I'm like, no, because they suck. They're terrible. All of their songs are terrible. There's not one song that I listen to. There's one that ends up on my iPod every now and then, and I'm not sure how it got put on there.
Probably your wife put it on there.
Yeah, it is awful. The band is that band that everybody likes, and I'm kind of an anti what everybody likes person. Mm-hmm. So if everybody likes it, I'm like, screw that. I hate that. Yeah, and that's where this came from. I had a lot of good friends that absolutely love this band, so this is nothing against my friends.
Okay.
But this band, when I hear it, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I don't like the vocals. I don't like the music. And I don't like the people that listen to the music, for the most part, except for my friends.
Okay.
And that band is none other than the Dave Matthews Band.
Stole my first pick. I can't believe it.
No way, really.
That was going to be my first pick, man.
I am going with the Dave Matthews Band. They have no redeeming qualities to me. The songs are terrible. They are... I mean, I would rather listen to bro country than listen to Dave Matthews Band. And you know how much I hate new bro country. I can't stand it. But the singer aggravates the crap out of me. I don't know if his name's Dave Matthews. I don't even care. Never really investigated enough to find out. But whenever I'd sit around and, we'd get guitars out to play, hey, do you know this Dave Matthews song? I would want to say, no, I would rather run out into oncoming traffic. I don't. I don't like any of it. It's terrible.
Well, I had so many things to say about Dave Matthews, but I got to throw a couple jabs in because this is going to be my first pick.
Tyler, I had no idea. The viewers should know we have not spoken about our picks.
No.
We have not talked about it. But you're saying that was your number one pick,
yes,
too?
Yes, and let me say, I've never understood why people love Dave Matthews. I mean, the songs are so mediocre, and everybody always says, "Oh, you just don't understand the lyrics." Like when he talks about eating pancakes for breakfast, it's a metaphor for how the government's not fighting to end world hunger. I'm like, no, it's a metaphor for a crap song, is what it is. And then you always hear everybody say, "Oh, well, you got to see Dave Matthews live."
Oh, yes.
That's the real Dave Matthews. Like, you haven't lived until you've seen a Dave Matthews Band concert. Well, let me tell you, I finally went to see Dave Matthews in concert a few years ago.
No way.
He was with OAR, which is my wife's favorite band.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm like, okay, I can deal with OAR. They're all right. I'm like, okay, I'll get to see what all this fuss is about with Dave Matthews. I mean, everybody says it's the greatest live show ever. It was junk, is what it was.
Oh my God!
Every song was about 15 minutes long.
Yes, that was the thing. Oh, you just hear their commercial stuff on MTV. Go watch them jam for 15 minutes, and it's like, oh my God, they have stuff that goes for 15 minutes. If that's what living is, I don't want to live.
It was horrible. It was one of the worst concerts I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, my goodness, Ty. I can't believe that I stole your number one. I had no clue you were going with Dave Matthews. And you know that we're going to have listeners and people that see this that are going to be really ticked off because Dave Matthews has permeated society to the point to where it's hard to go more than 2 or 3 people in your life without finding a Dave Matthews.
Oh, man. Absolutely.
We're in a lot of trouble.
I don't get it. I really don't.
Okay, so that's my first pick, Tyler.
Man.
What is your... You got to pick a different one. We can't have the same ones.
Okay, so we got to see who's putting together the best list here. All right. I'm worried you might steal this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this one because I'm worried you might take this one as well.
Oh.
I'm gonna go for my number one pick.
Okay.
Worst bands of all time. I know you hate bro country, but I'm gonna go with the band that I think started the whole bro country trend.
Ooh.
Which is Rascal Flatts.
Oh boy.
Rascal Flatts. And again, I don't know. I don't think if the lead singer's name is Rascal or not. I don't know who Rascal is. The only guy I really know is the blonde-haired guy with his hair spiked up who looks like a total frat guy. But you talk about just junk, awful music that is in no world even close to somewhat resembling country music. I mean, it's pop music. It's pop is what it is. They occasionally throw a fiddle in there so that it has at least some semblance of a country song.
It's probably a synthesizer fiddle. They probably are on a keyboard doing it that way. Probably.
And just I don't like the guy's voice at all. It just...
Wow, Rascal Flatts, how you have really crushed the soul of a lot of Kentuckians. They're pretty popular
And
in
I mean,
Kentucky.
and-
they sell out. They sell out.
Oh,
when
they
come.
do.
They come to
100%.
Rupp Arena. It is sold out. You can't find a ticket within 100 miles.
And again, I have also seen Rascal Flatts in concert as well.
Are you on just a World Suck tour? Are you trying to find the worst bands and go see them? What's the deal?
I mean, I don't know.
How did you end up at a Rascal Flatts concert?
I don't even. They were playing with somebody. I don't remember who it was.
Sure, Tyler, you bought a ticket.
I think it was that when I went to see Jessica Simpson. I think it was Rascal Flatts and Jessica Simpson together. So just an all-star show.
Oh my God! You bought tickets for that? That's impressive.
We're young. What else?
Well,
you gonna
I'll
do
say
on
this
Saturday
about
night?
Rascal Flatts: they suck. They are awful, and they're definitely in my top 10 worst. And you're right; they did kind of get the ball rolling on this really crap wussy country.
Yeah, it is. It's wussy music. Like there's nothing edgy. Like if Johnny Cash or Merle Haggard had to listen to Rascal Flatts, like they just probably had to be turning over in their grave.
Yeah, jeez Louise. Anyway, that's a really interesting pick there, Tyler.
Yeah, so Rascal Flatts is my number one.
All right, Tyler. So you go with your number 2 pick. Since I went first in the first round, you go first in the second round. Who is your second most hated band in your opinion?
Okay.
Coming off your first being Rascal Flatts, what do you got?
Let's see. I'm going to go number 2. I'm going to save my other one because I don't think you'll pick them. I'm going to go number 2. Another band that was pretty popular, really hit it big when we were in college. Maybe late high school.
Okay, late high school. Okay, I know who this is.
But they had a song that just went nuts, and everybody loved it. And it was from the City of Angels soundtrack. I'm talking about the Goo Goo Dolls.
What? Whoa. The Goo Goo Dolls?
I hate the Goo Goo Dolls.
No.
And it is primarily because of that one song. I can't even tell you the name of
Iris.
it. I don't want the world to see.
Iris.
I hate that song. It is terrible.
Tyler, I love the Goo Goo Dolls.
Are you kidding me?
Tyler, they have so many good songs.
But they all sound the same.
Yes, because they're all good.
No.
It's like saying AC/DC sounds the same for 40 years. Yes, but it's good. So what if all the songs sound the same?
Yeah, well I guess that's okay when the sound is good, but it's just again, it's wussy. Like they started out being, kind of this. I don't know. What would you call them? Like punk rock? I mean,
they were a harder rock, like grunge band. They had an edge to them, and they definitely softened it.
Yes,
and went more acoustic. I will give you that.
Softened it, or you could say they sold out. Is what they did. They were sellouts. Which I can't really say much because if somebody offered me millions of dollars to play my guitar a little differently and sing a little lighter, I probably would have done the same thing. But
so
I don't want to ever hear artists saying it's about the music, man. I don't want to hear that crap when you are a sellout. And I don't know. I don't like the Goo Goo Dolls, and I hate that song. The movie was also terrible. Did you ever see City of Angels?
Who are you?
What a god awful movie.
You're a monster.
It was stupid.
You are a monster. You don't like the movie or the song? Which one do you
No.
hate more, the movie or the song?
I don't even think I made it through the whole movie. I think I turned it off about 3/4 of the way
I
through.
love the Goo Goo
I
Dolls.
couldn't
This
stand
is
it.
so disappointing because I love the Goo Goo Dolls.
Well, I guess I could have saved that pick for later then.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so I got number 1, Rascal Flatts. Number 2, Goo Goo Dolls.
Ugh.
Both very unmanly bands.
All right. Well, Tyler, speaking of unmanly bands, this band kind of broke at the same time the Goo Goo Dolls started doing their whole acoustic thing. All right, this reminds me of high school. This reminds me of going on bus rides to basketball games.
Okay.
And it's one of the worst memories I have of basketball games.
Oh my gosh.
People would play this song.
Oh.
And I couldn't stand it. The band actually has talented musicians, but this person's voice and the pompous attitude that the singer had, and the fact, just like my Dave Matthews pick as my first most hated band, the people that listened to him were just thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And you know me, I'm an anti-whatever's popular.
Yes.
Okay, I don't like it. This band had a song that when I hear it, I cringe. I physically cringe and just think, my dear Lord, if I have to hear this anymore, I'm just going to scream. And that band is Creed.
I knew it.
That band is Creed. Tyler, I couldn't stand Creed to save my life. I really dislike Creed. Their singer is just such a pompous jerk and is so arrogant. that it just turned me off completely. And then, everybody's like, oh, man, Creed, they're like the best rock band ever. I'm like, dude, you rock. Yeah, number one, rock? Really? This is what you're listening to? It's a really bad version of Pearl Jam.
I almost had Pearl Jam on my list, too, by the way. But yeah, I completely agree. Those two are very similar.
Yeah.
I don't like either one of them.
Yeah, with arms wide open, under. I mean, it was like a very bad Eddie Vedder impression with a less talented band. Is that a good way to phrase
it? Take us back to this. What did this have to do with high school basketball? Tell us about this experience.
Oh, man, what's your favorite band? Oh, Creed. They suck. That was my experience. That's it. They would play music on the bus, and sometimes it was Creed. And I hated it.
Sometimes it was Creed.
They would play it in the locker room, and it was Creed.
Nothing got you fired up for the game like Creed.
With arms wide open. What a great way to get things rocking.
What was their other song?
Can you take me
higher? That was the other one. Yeah.
So let's go there. I tell you where I wanted to go. I wanted to take the CD. Back when CDs were then.
Right.
Take it and put it in the trash. That's where I wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Terrible band, less talented version of Pearl Jam, and just an overall crap band.
I can't disagree with you on that one.
The songs aren't any good either. That's a really negative part for them.
Yeah. So. And not surprisingly, they never had any other good songs after. I mean, not that those were good.
Yes, because people
never had another hit song.
People realized that they sucked.
Yeah. It's like when the second song came out, like, oh, this sounds just like your first song.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Exactly. Now, Tyler, all
right, give me your number 3.
Number 3. So this is our third and final round. And you know what? I'm going to leave one band off my list who I think is just so bad that I've talked about them on the show enough that I'm not going to do it anymore.
Florida Georgia Line.
Yes, I'm not even going to give them any more airtime because they suck on a level that's on another planet.
Okay.
They are otherworldly suck.
Okay.
So they're off this list.
All right.
It's just a given that they are the worst
on your list.
Yeah, I'm just tired of talking about them.
That makes sense.
They give me anxiety and I don't like it.
Okay.
So if I'm thinking about my third pick, and I think this may be controversial, Tyler.
Oh.
I mean, this could be my most controversial pick.
More controversial than
This
Dave
is a
Matthews.
band that gets a lot of credit for changing the music industry, being totally innovative, and just changing the game, which they did to a degree, but the songs just aren't there for me. I thought they were completely overrated. They had one good musician in the band, in my opinion, and that was the drummer.
Okay.
And I just don't think they're that good, but they're considered one of the top 5-10 bands of all time by a lot of people, by a lot of rock critics.
Okay.
And this band is none other than Nirvana.
Oh.
I think Nirvana is totally overrated, man. I have a hard time just getting through any of their songs. I don't like them. The songs are short, and I can't listen to them. Talk about Dave Matthews listening to them for 15 minutes being hard. Yeah, that's hard. I can't really listen to a Nirvana song. I don't like them. I don't think they're that good. Is that bad? I mean, Dave Grohl, the drummer, has went on to form the Foo Fighters, which has been just a massive band. He's the only talented guy there. Kurt Cobain does have a distinctive voice. It's just not my type of voice. It doesn't speak to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some voices people hear, like Dave Matthews, they're like, oh, God, this guy will blow your mind. No, it makes me just want to get out of here. And Kurt Cobain had that kind of effect for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not a huge Nirvana fan either.
You're not? Okay, I didn't know if you were or not.
There are a few songs that I like. He's just yelling all the time, and that's not really my thing with music. Just when people yell at me, I don't like being yelled at.
Yeah, and I think my hatred for it comes from the fact that they are so propped up by the critics of the pop culture world and of the music world as being like one of the top 4 or 5 best bands ever.
Do you think it's just because of what happened to Kurt Cobain that is why they get recognized?
I don't know, but that's my biggest problem is they get credit for just being this awesome band when I don't think they were that good. If they didn't get talked about like they do, then I probably wouldn't dislike them as much.
Yeah.
But when every critic on the planet tells me they're a top 5 band, and then I take my own 2 ears and I listen to it and say, wow, this is mediocre at best, it makes me really dislike it. And again, with my entire theme, bands that get propped up by critics and media and the popular culture, I typically don't like.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can support that one a little bit. I do like Nirvana.
Okay,
but
all right.
I wouldn't put them in my top 3.
Okay,
but I do not like Kurt Cobain yelling at me.
He's not yelling at you, Tyler. He's yelling at society.
Calm it down a little bit.
So you think? Now wait a minute, Tyler. You just talked about a few picks ago. You said I'm picking the Goo Goo Dolls because they went from hard and then they mellowed out. But yet you just told Nirvana to stop yelling at you and mellow out. So which one is it?
Well, because they sold out. That's what I didn't like about it.
No, wait.
Maybe
they
Kurt
thought
Cobain was true to himself.
Okay, but you didn't like it.
No, but that's not going to make me hate him. I hate the Goo Goo Dolls because they sold out.
Maybe they're just trying to not yell at people. Okay, anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
What's your third pick, Tyler? Last pick in the most hated bands draft for you.
All right, number 3. I'm going with a band that I don't even think I can name one of their songs. I think I probably could have at some point, but right now, off the top of my head, I can't tell you a song that they sing.
Okay.
I just know that I've heard them and I hate them.
You've heard them and you hate them. Okay.
Yes, and they almost single-handedly ruined one of the most exciting events of my life.
Oh my God!
I'm going to take you back to the year 2012. Kentucky has just beaten Louisville in the Final Four to advance to the national championship game, which my wife and we bought tickets for the national title game in 2012, like in January.
Wow.
Just hoping that Kentucky was going to make it.
Back when we knew we'd make it.
Yes, that was back when we had faith. Like, we didn't even buy the Final Four tickets. We just went straight to the title game, assuming Kentucky would be there, which they did. So needless to say, I had been looking forward to this for months. We're in New Orleans. We're down on Bourbon Street. We've been going out to all the pregame activities, getting excited. We're in the Superdome. There's this buzz that, you can't even describe the feeling at a national championship game unless you're there. And the crowd really starts piling in. You're like, okay, here we go. All right, we're about to do this. The horn sounds. Ask everybody to rise and stand for the national anthem. And out comes the Fray to sing the national anthem.
The Fray.
Do you remember this?
I
Do you
do
remember the
Fray.
Fray's national anthem?
I do remember the Fray. They were terrible.
It was
that performance was terrible.
God, it was they had 2 guys on guitar, and they must have both had different headsets on because neither guy was playing along with the other one. They were completely out of sync. And then they had like the little drummer boy with the drum around his neck.
Yes, I remember
and
that.
And a tambourine.
Oh,
and I'm
man,
like,
the
what
Fray.
is this? What is that? Like my excitement level went from like 100 to a 2 during the course of that national anthem.
That's so sad.
And had we lost that game, I would have completely blamed it on the Fray for just completely killing the excitement for our team.
Wow.
Like, I can just imagine Deron Lamb standing on the sidelines listening to that national anthem.
You don't think Deron Lamb listens to the Fray?
I don't think it got him very excited. I don't.
Fair enough.
But, and like I said, I can't name you another song that they sing. I know they had like 1 or 2 really big ones. But it's just that whole hipster, like...
Drives me crazy.
I can't deal with the hipster music.
Okay. I'm right there with
so
you,
I'm
Tyler.
going Fray number 3.
All right. So, Tyler, I think that's a good choice. So, just to review our picks, Tyler, my top 3 were Dave Matthews Band, Creed, and Nirvana.
Yes.
Your top 3 were Rascal Flatts, Goo Goo Dolls, and The Fray.
Yes, those are my 3.
I like where we're going here. We're going to have to put this up for a vote.
We are. We're going to see who has the worst taste or who
best taste and worst taste. Now, to be fair, the article that came out, I was going to go through the top 5 bands. We talked about the article that was kind of the reason we did this. When they were listing their top 5 worst bands, I'll go in reverse order. Number 5, Mumford & Sons.
Never heard. I know who they are, but I've never heard of them.
U2, number 4.
I do think they're overrated.
I do too. Number 3, Creed.
There you go.
Number 2, Limp Bizkit.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Bizkit with a Z, not biscuit. Bizkit.
That is a good choice. Limp Bizkit is terrible.
And number 1, Nickelback.
Well, that's not surprising. I could have probably guessed that's who it would have been.
But Tyler, I've listened to Nickelback. I don't have a problem with Nickelback.
I don't really either.
I feel like they're a better version of Creed.
I feel like they get a lot of crap, and I don't think it's all deserved.
Oh, so are we Nickelback apologists? Is that what you're saying? Actually, when their songs come on, I think they've got they write some catchy tunes. Now, they're all about the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's to be fair.
Yeah.
But and they do sound somewhat similar, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, I mean stick to what you're good at, I guess, or
They definitely do.
Stick to something even if you're not good at it.
Exactly. Tyler, what an interesting show.
This is. I can't wait to hear what the people think on who has the better list here. So we're going to put this out on Facebook and Twitter. So make sure you let us know who has the better list of the worst bands.
Yeah. Wow, what an interesting time. The better list of the worst bands. Good way to do it, Tyler. Tyler, we talked sports, pop culture, politics, food, The Rock.
We hit a little bit of everything.
And music.
I can't wait for our Kit Kat taste test here in a few
really
weeks.
excited about it. I'm interested to see where that goes. I'm going to keep my arms wide open. I'm going to keep my mind wide open on the vegan Kit Kat thing. See how it goes.
Very
I think
nice.
we do it as a blind taste test.
Okay.
That way there's no bias. We unbox it. I'll have my wife put it on 2 different plates, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Maybe it'll turn us vegan, Tyler.
I doubt it, but you never know. I guess stranger things have happened.
Huh, see how you tied that in? Very clever.
For those of you listening on podcasts, Brandon has a Stranger Things shirt on.
Yeah, very clever, Tyler. Well, fun show as always, Tyler. Follow us. Type in the word LexBuds into your internet machine. On Twitter at LexBuds, LexBuds.com for Tyler's latest article and video of this show and full audio, of course. And then on the Facebooks, LexBuds and Pick and Roll, we're on there too. On YouTube,
Are we on MySpace yet?
I don't know.
Has Tom approved us?
Tom's not approved us. Maybe
Oh, man.
add us on MySpace. We may add you as one of our top 5 friends. Right? Remember when you used to do that?
Oh man, yeah.
But anyway, we really appreciate it. Fun show, Tyler. Let's do another one next week, and we will see you on the next episode. Stay classy, Kentucky.